How's it going, everybody? It's Pilot Flame, and we are back with another FPL preseason video. I was out for a little bit. I had a little bit of a bug, a little bit of a fatigue and whatnot, and it was actually good. It reminded that taking care of yourself is important, mental health is important, all that sort of stuff, and we need to make sure that we keep that under wraps because otherwise we can't make videos. So correcting that situation, still not fully 100%, but good enough to make the videos now. So we're going to be looking at Manchester United, my team, what players I'm interested in, what players I'm not so interested in, or things might need to change, as well as what transfer activity United have done in the window. And it's safe to say that they're currently winning that race in terms of the best transfer window that you could possibly have, at least on paper anyway. If you haven't done so already, make sure to hit that like button, subscribe to the channel if you are new or haven't done so already, and turn those notification bells on so that you can get the content as soon as it is readily available. Drop us a follow over on Twitter so you can see updates and that sort of stuff, like when I was going to be out or the videos were going to be delayed and that sort of stuff, as well as give us a follow over on Twitch so that you can be ready when we go live for our preview and deadline streams, which I'm trying to think. It's not next week that they start, it's the week after, actually. So a week Monday they're actually going to be starting, because that's when the game week is. The Community Shield, or Carabao Shield, or whatever it's called, where Leicester and City play. Basically the team who comes first in the league and first in the FA Cup play each other, I think, a week Sunday coming, I want to say. So, because United only have two preseason games left, one versus Preston, one versus Everton. So, yeah, the season is closing on us quickly and fast, so we're going to have to make sure that our teams are in order for that. But without further ado, let's talk about our partners today in Fantasy Football Scout. We have partnered up with Fantasy Football Scout for this coming Fantasy Premier League season, and they're giving you an exclusive offer. Use the link down in the description to get 20% off your Fantasy Football Scout membership. It gives you access to the exclusive members area, which has new tools such as the 3-player comparison tool, as well as some old favorites such as the Rate My Team tool, the Season Ticker, and my personal favorite, the fully customizable stats tables, which you can share among other Fantasy Football Scout members, powered by Opta Stats. Use the link down in the description below to get 20% off your membership today. Sign up now. Now, with Manchester United comes a plethora of attacking options. We have three up on the screen right now: Cavani, Rashford, and Bruno Fernandes. Now, obviously, Sancho recently signed is going to come in at the same price as Rashford, so I kind of just put Rashford there just because he had stats from last season. So maybe we can get a similar idea as to what Sancho could be producing. Now, Rashford, he was playing injured for, I think he's been playing injured for at least 18 months, probably closer to 2 years, with shoulder, ankle, back, all that sort of stuff. And he's still been putting up decent numbers. One big chance, 6 chances created, 5 shots in the box, 0.94 XGI. It's definitely lower than what it could be. But if you said that he was a 6 million midfielder, you'd be like, okay, that's not too bad. And if Rashford's been playing injured and he's still got, I think, 20 goals across all competitions this season at least. He's definitely got a few assists and whatnot. Did okay at the Euros. Obviously, missing a penalty wasn't ideal for him, but I thought when he came on, he looked okay, especially for someone who's been playing injured for 2 years. And United's fixtures definitely make it so that we have to look at these attacking options. Leeds at home, Southampton away, Wolves away, Newcastle at home. Doesn't really get much better than that. United will go through a tougher run from game weeks. I think it's around like 7 to 13, 14, something like that, where they play a lot of the traditional bigger teams, and Leicester included in that as well. So it'd be like the likes of Spurs, Leicester City, Chelsea, Arsenal. They play a lot of those teams in a bunch, and then they have a run from game week 14 till game week 20 something, where it's just nothing but easy teams, promotion teams, teams that you would expect to be in the bottom third, bottom half, and that's when we can jump back on them again. But to start the season, definitely looking like attacking options could be a good way to go. Non-penalty XG for United was an interesting one, so 52.23, which is actually a lot lower than the likes of City and the likes of Liverpool as well. And that's mainly because they did get a lot of goals from that man down the bottom of your screen in Bruno Fernandes. 2.51 XGI in the last 4 matches that he did play. 8 shots in the box, which is most out of all his teammates up on the graphic. he's definitely the most involved. So I'm seeing a lot of teams where people are dropping Fernandes, bringing in Sancho. Now, if there's one thing that I quickly learned, I looked back at my notes of things that I should probably stay away from, and that's new players into the league. So I did this with Timo Werner last season, as well as Kai Havertz at points, and it didn't work out. So I think it's a wait and see. With promotion players like Ivan Toney and Buendia and that sort of stuff, it can be a little bit different because they've played in the championship, which is arguably as rigorous as, if not more rigorous, because of the sloth of games that you have to go through, a slog of games rather, not sloth. Misword there, but sometimes you can feel like a sloth at the end of the season, just really slow, or worn down, because I think it's 46 games across the season, and you got to go face teams, like Millwall and stuff, who are just gonna grind at you and just give you a rough time. There's going to be a lot of teams that are going to be quite difficult. Watford at home, if you're playing Watford at their home ground, that would have been tough as well. So I think with championship players, you can kind of get a little bit of sense, because it's a bit more, it's going to be that rough and tough kind of when you play against the lower half teams in the Premier League. But that being said, Jadon Sancho I still think is a viable option. Is your replacement for Bruno Fernandes, though? Definitely not. I think Bruno Fernandes is going to be worth his weight in gold. I think you have to start with him at the beginning of the season. I think him and Salah and probably Trent Alexander-Arnold are probably the three players that are not going to leave my team. I think they're almost mandatory, basically. Assuming that they're fit and firing at the start of the season. Bruno Fernandes on penalties. Anytime United gets a penalty, you expect Fernandes to score it. There was a stat going around saying Jadon Sancho won the most penalties in the Bundesliga. He won 0, by the way. But he definitely could provide more penalty opportunities for United, as his direct running and link-up play around the edge of the box. He's going to be quite good. So with that being said, I think that Fernandes is probably the attacking option over, well, Rashford's going to be injured probably at the start of the season if he goes through the surgery. That's still undecided as well. Cavani, 8.5 million. I think Martial will probably come in off the left to start the season, assuming he's fit, which means Cavani will be through the middle, Sancho being on the right, and those two will switch sides, and they can all interchange and that sort of stuff. But I think Fernandes is definitely the United attacker for the start of the season. And then kind of keep an eye on Sancho. If we want to move up, we can always do that in 2 moves if need be. That is pretty straightforward to go. If we wanted to go in 5 in midfield, we could definitely do that if your team structure is correct. Although it might be ideal to have like a more mid-price midfielder that's a little bit higher up. So maybe like a Jack Grealish at 8 million, just so it's a little bit easier to get to like the Mahrez's, the Rashfords when he comes back, Sancho, that sort of price point as well. Now, with that being said, let's take a look at some of the defensive options for Manchester United in this coming FPL season. Now, United's defense was not too bad across the entire FPL season last season in 2020-2021. If you look at some of the fullback options with Luke Shaw and Wan-Bissaka, those are going to probably be the ones that everyone goes to. Shaw might be a little bit doubtful for game week 1. He was apparently playing with broken ribs after the Germany game, which is definitely interesting to see, considering he scored the goal in the final that England needed in order to go into penalties ultimately. But I think Wan-Bissaka could be someone that we should potentially look at as well. He's getting a new partner on that right-hand side in Jadon Sancho. He's going to have a new right-sided centre-back alongside him. We'll get to him in a minute in Raphael Varane in the transfer section. And then Harry Maguire is also going to have another player which he can, learn off of and just boost his confidence with alongside him at centre-back as well. Also Raphael Varane. And maybe that improves his set-piece attacking threat as well. 4 shots inside the box in the last 4 matches played among all 3 of these guys, and that was the most. It just has to put them on target, unfortunately, for Harry Maguire. Luke Shaw, we know his chance creation is fantastic. We know his set pieces can be quite good as well. I see Bruno and Shaw being the 2 guys on set pieces for the season, which will be very valuable for Shaw, being at 5.5 million. I think he's very cheap at that price. If he comes in at game week 1 and he's not, fully there, we'll have to kind of maybe risk going in with him and just play our 4.5 million defender. Let's say you have Trent Alexander-Arnold, Luca Digne, and Shaw as your 3 defenders, but you also have a 4 million and then Veltman from Brighton as an example. You could just play Veltman against Burnley away, and then Shaw comes in game week 2. I think that's perfectly fine. assuming that he's not going to be in there, because I think Shaw is that good. So I think if Shaw is fully fit, I think Shaw, Fernandez are the two best United assets by far. But I'm definitely not overlooking Aaron Wan-Bissaka. 6 chances created when you have someone who like Mason Greenwood. I love Mason Greenwood. He's a fantastic player, but I think his future lies more centrally. He often drifts inside and plays in like more of a right inside forward, which is something that Sancho is going to do when he comes in, but he's also going to hold the width as well, which is going to allow Aaron Wan-Bissaka to make underlapping runs, which is not something he does very often, and Sancho will definitely pick out that pass. So it's going to give Wan-Bissaka the confidence to go forward and go forward with authority as well. But I think that with United's fixtures, I just can't see me not going into the season without a United defender. If it is Luke Shaw off the start, I mean, the Leeds fixture, I probably would say that United probably concede one there. Possibly. I still think that they probably beat Leeds quite comfortably. The attacking output is just too much there. The intensity is going to be interesting to see. I mean, it's the most intense game in the league when you play versus Leeds. Liverpool found that out game week 1 last season with the 4-3 win that they had. So it is going to be quite interesting to see how that one plays out. But I think if Shaw is missing game week 1, you can still have him in your team and he should be fine. They said he's going to be it's going to be touch and go kind of for game week 1, but he'll definitely be game week 2 because he'll have a full extra week as well. But if you wanted to, you could just start with Aaron Wan-Bissaka. I think it's probably perfectly fine, and then you could swap to Shaw later down the line if you feel that Wan-Bissaka is underperforming or Shaw's come in and done quite well. But I think Shaw will be starting the season because Telles could be out for the whole month of August because of an ankle injury that he sustained in preseason. So we'll have to see who steps into that role. Maybe Brandon Williams starts that first game. That would be very interesting to see versus Leeds. Brandon Williams is a bit of a hothead sometimes. So with Leeds players buzzing all around him, he's going to probably want to go in for a tackle. So definitely be interesting. So they'll see that Shaw gets back probably for game week 1. And I think he would definitely be the option. So Shaw and Bruno Fernandes, my 2 front runners. No real bad options for United apart from the obvious ones that, you know, notoriously aren't good FPL assets, like the defensive-minded midfielders like Matic and, you know, that sort of stuff. But with that being said, let's see what transformations to their starting 11 United have made because of the summer transfer activity that they've had this summer. Now, United have been fairly busy in the transfer window, which is very surprising to see. I think basically the Glazers got a bit of a rocket up the backside because of the whole Super League stuff, the stadium is falling apart sort of conundrum that they have to kind of sort. I've seen that they've recently put some paint on the outside of the stadium. That's nice to see. Now fix the roof and fix everything else and then leave the club probably. But that's just my opinion. So we'll put that off to the side and talk about transfers, which is a lot more exciting and probably what the Glazers want you to look at. So United have gone out and spent 72.8 approximately million pounds on the Borussia Dortmund right-sided or left-sided or just multi-united attacker in Jadon Sancho. And he's come with such high regard. Very, very young. I think he's only 20 or 21. And also, as a note, all the transfer fees you see up on the graphic are estimations, and unless they're, accurate in terms of what the club says they paid for them, then Jadon Sancho's transfer is an estimate, much like Rafa Varane's as well. But yeah, I think the 72.8 million is approximate and about right because I think it's 85 million euros, which is what they paid for him. I think there's no add-ons. That's going to be a flat fee. It's going to be paid over the multitude of Sancho's first contract of 5 years. And I think it's a fantastic signing. United haven't had a right-sided attacker since Antonio Valencia, probably, and he ended up going to right back as well. So you can see how long it's actually been since they've had someone who can literally get chalk on his boots and be out on that right-hand side without like Mata or Lingard or players you want to play kind of in the half spaces, playing in that position. Nextly, we also have Tom Heaton as well as come in. He's kind of been playing in preseason. He's going to be like a third choice goalkeeper unless he becomes second choice if De Gea or the likes of Dean Henderson are put on loan or sold or whatever it may be. But there's still no activity around that, so it's going to be interesting to see kind of how that plays out. But I think he's going to be third choice, and Lee Grant is going to be positioned as a coach, like a goalkeeping coach. And then finally, Raphael Varane. I put 50 million pounds there because it was initially that it was going to be around like 55 to 60 million euros. that's actually way less than what United actually ended up paying for him. I think it's 34 million pounds, rising up to 42 million pounds, which is like 50 million euros with the add-on. So that's going to be like appearances and potential, accolades and that sort of stuff, which is pretty crazy. That's a very, very cheap price. Initial 34 million pounds for Varane. That is also going to be paid in installments as well. So again, United doing fantastic business there. Not only does Aaron Wan-Bissaka, like we mentioned, have a new right-sided center back who's good, who's world class. He's won everything. He's won more Champions Leagues than United with 4. United have only won 3. But he's also going to have a new friend in front of him, Jadon Sancho, as well. So United's team are looking very, very good. The only thing that I would say that they need to strengthen in is central midfield. If they can get an out-and-out midfielder that allows Pogba to do what he wants to do in his final season at United, because I think he's probably going to leave at the end of the season, or he can go wherever he wants at the end of the season. That is probably something that United are going to need to fix. But Varane, with the pace, with the experience, with the aerial threat, both offensively and defensively, the ability to pass out from the back. I think he's going to instill confidence in the players around him, which may see the likes of Fred and McTominay, whoever plays alongside Paul Pogba, or if they're playing together, which we hope that doesn't happen. But if Pogba's in front of Varane, they play in the same national team as well. There was even a post on, I think it was Paul Pogba's Instagram or Snapchat or whatever it was, of him talking with Varane in a video call. So that was quite nice to see. But yeah, United have done very good business and are still potentially looking at maybe a backup right back or a right back in general, and like Kieran Trippier or somebody like that, and a midfielder of some kind. In terms of the outs, Sergio Romero, someone who's been at the club for several years, has left on a free transfer. He's being touted by the likes of, various different clubs that might need a goalkeeper. I see today that West Ham have got a long-term goalkeeper with an option to buy, Areola, who played for Fulham on loan from PSG last season. He's going to be on loan with West Ham with the option to buy this season. So it'll be interesting to see if he comes in at a 4.5 million price tag and takes over Fabianski, who's currently 5 million. So that'd be very interesting, because if he comes in at 4.5 million, that'd be quite good. But that's for West Ham's talk. Just got sidetracked, but Romero, very good goalkeeper. I can see him. At one point, he was the best backup goalkeeper you could have in the entire league. He was arguably better than some people starting goalkeepers. There was a point in time he was better than Jordan Pickford, and Everton were looking for a goalkeeper, and then they were haggling over, a few million here and there. Spurs are apparently looking at Romero as well, so it'd be very interesting to see kind of how that goes down. Tae Chong, a younger prospect, he's going out on loan to Birmingham. I like that a lot. He went out to, I believe it was Werder Bremen. I want to say he went over to the Bundesliga, did okay, but I think the Championship is where United should be loaning out their players, where they can get kind of that rough and tough experience and pace of the Premier League, or a lighter version of it as well. And then lastly, Jesse Lingard. I think for his career personally, he's 7 million in FPL at the moment. I think if he's fine with playing a backup role to Fernandes as the number 10, I think that's perfectly fine. But I think for him, I think he should go to West Ham. He should go to an Everton. He should go to a Leicester. Know where he's going to get starting opportunities. Prove what he's worth, because he is definitely a very good player. I just think when he plays for a team where he's able to spin in behind and hit on the counterattack quite often, that's going to benefit his game quite a bit. United apparently want 25-30 million pounds for him, which I think is probably about right considering his performance. I mean, he almost made the Euro squad off his, kind of short spell at West Ham alone, which is definitely quite interesting. So we'll have to see kind of how that all pans out. But I think he kind of likes United quite a lot. Solskjaer said he's in his plans as well, so we'll have to kind of see how that pans out. But I think for Lingard, if he wants to be playing first team football, I think West Ham as a return will be quite good for him, or a club of that, kind of that level, I think he could do quite well, where they don't have to necessarily always be on the front foot. They can sit back and then use Lingard on the break, as they did so successfully under David Moyes at West Ham. So with that being all said, let me know in the comments down below what midfielder you think United could possibly be getting before the transfer window is out. There's also rumors of Leon Goretzka maybe next season. So let me know in the comments what midfielder you would like to see United get as well. And that's going to do it for today's episode featuring Man United in our preseason team watch. If you haven't done so already, hit that like button, subscribe to the channel if you are new. It greatly helps out the channel. We'd much appreciate it. And turn those notification bells on so that you can get the content as soon as it is readily available. Drop us a follow over on Twitter so you can keep up to date with all FPL transfer news, as well as any times videos could be delayed and that sort of stuff. It's very useful. That's where I posted that I was going to be missing in action for a few days, as well as give us a follow over on Twitch so that you can be ready when we go live a week on Monday coming for the preview and deadline streams for the FPL season. And lastly, use the link down in the description below to get yourself that exclusive 20% off your Fantasy Football Scout membership, where you can get access to a whole bunch of different tools and stats in which you can up your FPL game. Thank you all for watching, and until the next one, take care.